Hey guys, it's Sid. Welcome back to my channel. If you are returning, thank you guys so much for coming back. I know there are also a lot of new subscribers, so if you are new, welcome. I'm Sid. Nice to meet you. As you guys can tell by the title of today's video, it's kind of going to be a continuation of my first breast reduction video. So if you haven't watched that already, pause this video right now. I will leave a card to it right here. I would definitely say watch that video first and then come back to this one so you guys can get all the timelines and everything right. This video, I'm going to be mainly focusing on the recovery. The first video that I filmed kind of goes more into the actual process of getting the surgery done and the surgery date. So definitely if you're thinking about getting a breast reduction or you're curious about it, check out that video first and then come back to this one. So in this video, I'm going to be diving a little bit deeper into the actual recovery part of the surgery because that's obviously a huge part of this. There's quite a lot to get through. I'm about 3.5 months. Yeah, about 3.5 months post-op right now. I had my surgery on November 10th, and it is February. I don't even know, guys, and I can't check the date. I feel like it's February. I don't even know, 22nd. There are actually a lot of things that I experienced that I didn't see in the tons and tons and tons of videos that I watched before getting this surgery. So I figured if I could kind of give you guys my experience and share some insight, that would kind of make you guys better prepared if you are thinking about getting this done. So I made sure to write everything down in my little alpaca notebook here because there was so much to try and remember. So I hope I covered everything in my notes. If I forget anything, I'm sorry. But if I do, I will just pin it in the comments below. Before we get started, if you guys aren't already following me on TikTok, definitely do that. I post on TikTok pretty often. I do like mini vlogs, daily vlogs, a whole bunch of randomness, but it's a good time over there. So definitely follow my TikTok. And while you're at it, just go ahead and follow my Instagram too. Great. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get into the recovery. I'm just gonna start off by saying that my recovery experience was actually a lot different than the videos that I had watched on YouTube. I feel like the videos that I watched on YouTube made the recovery seem like it was a walk in the park, but I didn't really think so. I think I actually had a really tough time with the recovery. Mind you, I've never done surgery before or anything like this. I've never even broken a bone or anything, so I'm not sure, maybe that has something to do with it, but personally, I feel like I was struggling through the recovery. But let's get into kind of more specifics. So I'm gonna start this off from when I got home from the hospital after my surgery. Again, if you guys are curious about the actual surgery day when I was actually in the hospital getting the surgery done, I suggest you watch my first breast reduction video first and then come back. So I got home from the hospital. It was still like mid-afternoon, I would say. The nurses did tell me to eat something as soon as I got home. And I actually was kind of hungry because I had to stop eating like the day before my surgery at 12 a.m. So it had been almost 12, 13, 14, like almost 15 hours that I hadn't eaten at that point. So when I got home, my mom made me toast and just a cup of tea. One thing to note though is when they put you under, they also put in a tube into your throat to keep you breathing. Now you don't feel that tube going in or coming out, so it's really easy to forget that it was even in your throat. But the only time I remembered was when I went to go eat something and my throat was killing. And mind you, I was eating toast, so toast is kind of crunchy to begin with, which probably wasn't the best idea. But yeah, it was kind of hard to eat the first night. But anyways, I managed to kind of eat the toast. When you get home, they tell you to stay propped up. You can't fully lie down on your back. So I had about 7 to 9 pillows propping up my back, my neck, my arms, everything. That's honestly key, guys, is just getting a bunch of pillows to make yourself as comfortable as possible, because you're gonna have to sleep like that as well. So as soon as I got home, I changed into my pajamas. So before the surgery day, I had gone out to Walmart and bought a few button-up pajamas. So once I got home from the hospital on surgery day, I immediately put those on, and it was a lifesaver because obviously you can't lift your arms, so you're going to want something that you can easily just slide your arms into and then button up the front. The anesthesia was still in my system at that point as well when I got home, so I did feel a little nauseous, but nothing crazy, like I didn't throw up or anything. And by the time the next day rolled around, I was completely fine. Like I didn't feel nauseous at all. So yeah, on the day of surgery when I got home, I basically just had something to eat, tried to lay in bed, get as comfortable as possible, put my pajamas on, and just tried to rest. I was really groggy. So yeah, all I really wanted to do was just lay in bed. The hospital did prescribe me pain medication. So once I got home, my mom went out and got that. I only ended up taking one pain medication throughout the entire recovery. They prescribe you really, really strong meds. So you kind of have to be careful because they do kind of make you feel a little bit out of it and loopy a little. So yeah, I only took one, and I was like, honestly, I don't really need these. Like I wasn't in pain to the point where I was like, oh my God, like it hurts. Like it wasn't like that. If anything, it kind of just felt sore. It felt very sore, but it didn't feel painful. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, picture like if you do like a really intense workout, like you're in pain, but it's more like soreness. Hope that helped. I would say one of the hardest parts of the first day or so of recovery was definitely sleeping. For the first like 2-ish days, I was basically just lying in bed. Well, not lying, but kind of like sitting. And because you can't really move and you're in like one position like all the time, my butt was getting really sore and it started to hurt a lot because I was just sitting on it. So I did try to get up and walk around the house and things like that. So like, you know, gas doesn't build up and you can kind of keep everything moving. And the doctors do tell you to walk around as much as you can because that does help with recovery. So I was trying to walk around like every, you know, 2 hours or so, like up the stairs, down the stairs, like on my main floor and that sort of thing. But for the most part, I was either sitting in my bed or sitting on the couch. And it did get pretty sore after a while, like my lower back and my butt, because I was just sitting all the time. I also wish I was a little bit better prepared like mentally for the whole sleeping on your back situation. I'm very much so a stomach sleeper and like side sleeper, but sleeping on my back was actually really hard for me. My mom tried to like put as many pillows around to try and get me as comfortable as possible, but like I felt like I wasn't really getting like a good night's sleep. And you can't sleep on your side or your stomach, guys, for a while. I would probably say I was able to sleep on my side after about a month and a half. That's when I felt comfortable to sleep on my side. And then my stomach, I would say probably about 2 months, 2 and a bit months is when I felt comfortable sleeping on my stomach. So that's just one thing to kind of pay attention to, that you're gonna be laying on your back, sleeping on your back for a minute. So yeah. One thing about recovery that I really did like is my family was really supportive and helpful. They honestly did everything for me. They helped me get out of bed. I had like a little bell that I would ring, again, because my throat was sore from like the tube that they put down, so I couldn't really talk very loudly. So yeah, I had like a little bell that I would ring if it was like in the middle of the night and I needed to get up and use the bathroom. I would just ring my bell and like my whole family would come running. It was actually hilarious. One question I actually got a lot on Instagram, a couple of you guys DM'd me, and then I think some people left comments in my last video about bras, because you have to buy a bra when you go in for your surgery. You have to take one with you because that's what they put on once your surgery is done. So a lot of people were asking me, how did I know what size to buy when it came to bras? Okay, so the first bra I'm going to show you guys is the bra that I actually wore to the hospital on the day of my surgery, and the bra that they put on me once the surgery was done. So it's honestly just like a basic sports bra that I went to Walmart and picked up. So this is what it looks like. I made sure to get one that zipped in the front. One, because it's just easier for me to do it. Like say for example, if my mom was at home or something and I needed to take this on and off, it was just a lot easier. And also, like I said, you're gonna be sleeping on your back. So I know a lot of times if the clasp is in the back, it will dig into you, especially if you're gonna be laying on your back and sleeping on your back like all day. So I would definitely recommend getting one that either clips or zips up in the front. This one actually does both. There's like a little, I don't know if you guys can see that. There's like a little clip here, and then there's also a zipper. You're also going to want a bra with fairly supportive straps like this one, like just something plain and simple that goes straight back. Like don't buy a sports bra that has like those fancy straps that like crisscross and this and that. No, literally just something basic and simple is what you're gonna want. Also, make sure that this sports bra that you have has like cups or like padding. I don't know where the one went that was on this side. I'm honestly not sure. But when I bought it, it did have both cups, and that's just for like extra padding. And it also, it's kind of like a mental thing. Like you just feel like there's more like padding there, and like if you like accidentally brush something, that it's not gonna like tear your stitches open or something. Not that that will happen, but like in my mind, it just made me feel like more secure. So yeah, this was a sports bra. So how did I know what size to buy? I just bought my regular size, guys. That's literally what I did. Picture it this way. Okay, so this is a extra large sports bra. So that's the size that I would have been before. And typically how the bra would fit me before with my old boobs is that it would fit, but there would be like a lot of kind of side boobage, a lot of cleavage happening in the middle. How this fits now is everything is basically inside. There's no spilling happening on the sides, no spilling happening in the center. It literally just fits how it's supposed to. Also, keep in mind, guys, that after your surgery, you are gonna be very swollen. So for example, this is actually too big for me now. At 3 months post-op, I would definitely size down to a large. But at the time of the surgery and after surgery, this fit perfectly fine because I was still very swollen. You're gonna have bandages, you're gonna have gauze, you're gonna have tape. So you're not gonna want something that's gonna be like skin tight. Obviously you want it to be snug and supportive. So I would honestly just buy your regular size for the first couple weeks. Just wear this, and then once the swelling goes down, I would say go ahead and like get the next size down. But this honestly worked perfectly for me. So the bra, you have to wear the bra for literally weeks. If you're like me, you're the type of person that doesn't like wearing a bra at all. Like bras are just uncomfortable in general. So the fact that you have to wear it 24/7 for like weeks and weeks and weeks, it was just I hated it. So after a while, I was kind of on the hunt to try and find something more comfortable, something that was softer, and just something that wasn't as like tight. And I would kind of alternate between these two. Let me just button it. Now I know this one does look a little bit like a granny bra, you guys, but on those days where I was just like, I don't feel like wearing a bra today, like it's just too uncomfortable or it's just too tight, I feel like it's pushing on this, or putting too much pressure here, I would put on my alternative bra. So this is kind of like my backup bra that I would wear when I kind of wanted more of like a relaxed, comfortable fit. And I actually ended up buying 3 of these. I got this on Amazon. I'll link it below for you guys. I'll try and find it and link it below. I don't know if you can see because I'm literally wearing white and it's white, but this is kind of just more of like a cotton bra. It again kind of clips in the front, but it's just a lot softer. This actually came up when I searched like surgical bras in Amazon. I definitely wouldn't say like wear this all the time because again, it's not the most supportive, but for those days or like, you know, a couple hours here and there, if you don't want to wear something as like tight as a sports bra, then I would say pick up like 1 or 2 of these and you'll be good to go. I especially like these when I got out of the shower at night, when like you know, you want to be in your pajamas, you just want to be comfortable, you don't want anything too tight. That's when I would put these on. And then before I went to bed, I would put this one back on just for like a little bit of extra support. So that's the bra question cleared up for you guys. I know it was like a huge mystery. You guys were like, how do you figure it out? So yeah, rule of thumb, just buy your regular size. Once your swelling goes down, then I would size down. Up to this day, I still haven't worn an actual bra, partly because the stores in Toronto are still closed, so I can't actually go into an actual store. I was kind of debating on buying some online, but like I'm just not sure. Like I think I know my size, but I don't know, so I'm just gonna wait until the stores open and then just go in and just pick up a couple. That way I can try them on and see how they fit and everything like that. I'm very excited for that day. But yeah, so far I've kind of just been sticking to like sports bras like these, or honestly just wearing no bra because I'm like 3.5 months post-op, so I don't have to wear a bra every day now. So a big part of my recovery was tubes. Now I went into a little bit of detail in my first video, but I'll kind of just recap if any of you didn't watch that. So once you get a reduction, a lot of extra fluid kind of builds up in your chest because everything is so tight and there's not really anywhere for that extra fluid to go. At least that's my understanding of why you need tubes. You can either have 1 or 2. So you can either have tubes, which is what I had, or you don't have tubes, but all of that extra fluid, like when you go for your follow-up appointments, your doctor will have to like syringe out that extra fluid. Whereas the tubes, they put it in, you know, while you're still asleep. You leave the hospital with the tubes in. You have them in for maybe 3 days or so. And during those 3 days, the extra fluid will drip into the little tubes. I say tubes, but it's really tubes, and there's little like clear pouches on the end, and the fluid will drip into there, and then every like couple hours you have to empty those little clear pouches. So those were the tubes. Honestly, they look very scary. Like I wasn't expecting to wake up with them on me, so they do look kind of scary because they're like just like sacks filled with blood. So yeah. So the first few days trying to like maneuver around the tubes and kind of not hit them on anything, and trying to like button up my pajamas with like these tubes sticking out of me was kind of a little uncomfortable, not gonna lie. But the more uncomfortable part was actually getting the tubes taken out. Now, I don't mean to scare you guys, but me personally, I have a very low pain tolerance, and by far, getting the tubes taken out was the worst part of the entire recovery process. So I went for my first follow-up appointment 3 days after my surgery. So my surgery was on a Tuesday, and I went for my first follow-up appointment on Friday. And during that appointment is when they took the tubes out. I can't describe the feeling. It's really, it feels like pressure. Oh my God, I can't describe it. It was just awful. Like when I say awful, like I was crying like hysterically. You know the type of cry where you're like, that was me. Like, I walked out of the doctor's office crying. People in the waiting room were looking at me like I was mental. It was just not good. But I will say that once the tubes were taken out, I felt so much better. I just felt like I could move a lot more, and I didn't have to worry about hitting my tubes, and I just felt so much more free. So the pain did only last like a couple seconds, guys, like literally a couple seconds on this side, a couple seconds on this side, and that was it. But it was an intense couple seconds, I'm not gonna lie. If you weren't to get the tubes and you had to get the fluid syringed out, I'm not sure what that would feel like, because I didn't personally have that. I would imagine it wouldn't hurt as much, but I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure. So showering was like a whole other dilemma, you guys. So first of all, as long as I had the tubes in, I couldn't shower from the waist up. I could only shower from the waist down. So for the first 3 days, I only showered from the waist down. My mom had to help me. So yeah, make sure you have like your mom or your sister, someone like that, because you will need help showering. You can't bend down, you can't really move, especially while you have tubes in. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. After I got the tubes out on the 3rd day, I could take a full body shower, so that made me feel so much better. I felt like an actual human again, but I still needed help showering because I couldn't really reach like my back, or I couldn't really like bend down, so my mom had to help me. She honestly had to help me shower for, I would say, like 2 weeks, like 2.5 weeks, because you can't lift your arms, guys. Like, I know it's here, it's your chest that you got operated on, but your arms are so sore, and I just felt like I couldn't keep them up for longer than like 2 seconds. Like, they felt so sore and just heavy, and it was just exhausting trying to lift my arms to do anything. Another thing that I wish I did before going into surgery, and this is for all of my curly hair girls out there, is I wish that I had braided my hair before I went into surgery, because I didn't. I just left it like out. And then once I came home and it was time for recovery and I couldn't get my upper body wet, my hair obviously got all tangled, and it was just a nightmare trying to detangle it. So the first time that I was actually able to wash my hair, it took forever. But after that, I made my mom like braid it in 2 braids, and it kind of just stayed like that. Like, every week she would just wash it and put it in the same 2 braids, because I couldn't manage to do my hair myself. My mom couldn't. We didn't have the energy or the strength or even the desire to do anything like style my hair. So we just opted for 2 little braids, and that was kind of the style that I was rocking for about 1.5 months. So kind of going back to touch on the strength in your arms. So I don't know if this happens to everyone, but like I said, my arms felt very fatigued. I had about 100 internal stitches, and then I would say I had anywhere from 12 to 16 stitches maybe on the outside. So you have to be very careful when you're moving around, that you're not going to accidentally bump into something, or you're not going to stretch your arm too far or reach too high to pull anything, pull any of the stitches open. So you do have to try and be careful. So I did need a lot of help reaching things, like if I was reaching something that was on like a high shelf, or lifting things that are too heavy. They tell you not to lift anything. So yeah, just lifting like the easiest things, like even my like MacBook, my like 2016 MacBook, it weighs like as much as a brick house. Like, it was too heavy for me to lift. So just keep that in mind, that you won't really be able to kind of lift things on your own, so you will need help to do that, to reach things that are on high shelves, because you do have to be careful, because you have a lot of stitches both internally and externally. Like, it's a very invasive surgery, so just keep that in mind, that you do have to try and take it easy. I know like a lot of people that I watched on YouTube tried to make the recovery seem like it was a walk in the park, like, oh yeah, like I took like 3 days off and I was back to work the next day. Like, no, like definitely listen to your body, and if you are in pain or you don't feel like you can do something, just don't do it. Like I was personally milking the hell out of it. Like I was like, no, sorry guys, can't do that. Can't. Like part of it was yes, because it actually hurt, but like I didn't try and like overdo it, like get back to normal. Like I let my body rest and recover the way that it needed to. So just listen to your body, guys, and don't try and be like Superwoman. It's going to take time. It's going to take time for you to fully recover. Another, I wouldn't say side effect, but I don't know if this was like a mental thing or what, but I constantly felt that I had to hold my boobs up, you guys. It was like the weirdest thing. Even though I had my bra on all the time, I constantly felt like I had to hold them, because in my mind I felt like they were just gonna like rip off my body. Like I felt like they were just gonna like pitch like a Velcro. Like I feel like it was just gonna like and just even though that's the weirdest thing, but like when you look in the mirror, you guys, like it does kind of look a little bit like Frankenstein for the first couple weeks, I won't lie. So that part kind of like scared me, so I felt like I always had to like hold them to make sure that they were like okay. And like it got to the point where like my arms started to hurt, you guys, because I wouldn't like relax them and just put them down on my side. Like they were always up here. So that actually started to give me really bad shoulder pain and upper back pain. How ironic, like you get a breast reduction to get rid of your shoulder and back pain, and here I am just giving myself more. I'm not going to tell you guys not to do that, because for me it just made me feel more secure. So anyways, that was just like a weird thing that happened to me. I'm not sure if anyone else has experienced that. If you had a breast reduction and you've done that, definitely let me know so I know I'm not like crazy. But yeah, just thought I'd mention that. Some other kind of like side effects that I experienced, I think I mentioned this in my first video, or maybe not. I did experience increased hair loss because obviously my body was stressed from going through a major surgery. So I did experience more hair loss than normal. I'm about 3.5 months post-op now, and it's completely back to normal. For the shoulder pain that I was getting because I wouldn't put my arms down, I actually just ended up getting a neck pillow, like a travel pillow, and I would just like use that when I was sitting on my bed or on the couch, and that honestly really helped. Another thing that they do tell you during your consultation, but I figured I would just mention it, is that there is a possibility that you can lose feeling. So me personally, on my right side, I have all of my feeling. If anything, I feel like I have a little too much feeling in my right side, and my left side I don't have any feeling back yet. So the doctor did say that it will take a couple months if I don't have feeling for it to come back. So I'll just have to wait and hopefully it comes back. But that's something that I knew, and that's something that the doctors will make you aware of. So I mean, it's surgery. There is risks associated with surgery. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine not having any feeling, but hopefully it will come back. So caring for your wounds is actually super important. You don't want anything to get infected. You want to make sure that everything is dry so it can heal as quickly as possible. Personally, when I went in the shower, I would kind of just pat everything with a washcloth that had soap and water on it. I would rinse it off, and then once I got out of the shower, I would blow dry everything around it, underneath, just to make sure that everything was completely dry. Then we would put rubbing alcohol on all of my incisions just to make sure that, you know, there was no bacteria, there was no infection, anything like that. And then we kind of like switched it up. Some days we would put tape, some days we would put gauze, some days we would put bandages. So it kind of just depended on what my incisions were looking like that day. Eventually, when the majority of my incisions closed up, I just stopped putting tape and gauze and things like that, because honestly, it would just get stuck to the wounds and it would actually hurt when I went to go take it off. So what I ended up doing was just putting like a washcloth over. and then putting the bra on. And then when it came time to shower, I would just go into the shower with the washcloth, and the water would kind of just like soak the washcloth, so it would kind of just like come off really easily and it wouldn't get stuck to anything. One thing to know with the tape and bandages, that sort of thing, you have to make sure that you're putting it on properly, because for example, there was one time where we put the tape on too tight, and it actually gave me a blister, and the blister actually hurt pretty bad. They had to pop it. That was not fun. So yeah, just make sure that you're careful when it comes to the tape, and make sure that all the areas are completely dry before you put tape on, because it will start to smell, you guys, and it smells god awful. Like wet bandages that have like pus and blood and everything on it, ugh, it's disgusting. So make sure that you fully dry off that area. Like I said, I used a blow dryer. Just make sure everything's fully dry before you put on your bandages, your gauze, whatever. For my wounds, it took about 2 months for everything to fully heal. What side was it? I think it was my right side it was my right side that healed faster than my left side. The one spot on both sides that took the longest to close was the incision right at the bottom. So picture this is like your nipple. There's an incision going down and across. So this incision right here kind of connects this one and this one. So right there is where it took the longest to heal, because it's kind of where everything comes to a point. So that on my left side basically took about 2 months to fully close, until there was like nothing coming out of it and it was like scabbed over. And basically once that left side was healed, that's kind of when I felt comfortable to start sleeping on my side and my stomach. In terms of aftercare, once all of my incisions were healed, I was clear to start using scar gel. I'll insert a picture of the scar gel that my surgeon recommended, like here on the screen. I've been using it ever since I got the surgery. I'd probably say since December, and it's been working great. Obviously it takes time to kind of see results and things like that, and I find for the most part I don't really scar that badly, but it has been working really well. One thing to note, guys, is that it's going to take a while to feel like yourself. I really didn't feel like myself for like 2 months. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I just didn't feel like my regular self. Like, as long as you're still healing, as long as things are still like open and pussing and this and that, like I just didn't really feel like Sid. Also, it kind of helped once I was able to do things more on my own, like take a shower, wash my hair, like lift things again, reach things out of the cupboard. Like that definitely, those like small things are all things that would kind of help you feel normal again. But just know that that's going to take time. It's gonna take like a good month, 2 months to kind of get back to like your normal self and be comfortable with your new body. In terms of like doing the do, if you know what I mean, and if you don't know what I mean, then just skip forward like 20 seconds. But yeah, in terms of that, I mean, for the most part I was just like, no, like I just felt gross. I felt like I couldn't like move. You're basically like a damn starfish, okay? So I would just say definitely just take that easy because yeah, personally I was just like, no. And lastly, I'm just gonna touch on my follow-up appointments because I feel like this video is kind of getting a little long. So I had about 6 follow-up appointments, I want to say, and also in the price of my surgery it also included 2 laser consultations. I wasn't able to get those laser consultations until basically everything was closed up. So I would say my surgery was in November. I think I got my first laser done in January. So yeah, that was great. But again, the doctor said that my skin I wouldn't really need it, but because it was already included, they just did it anyways. It's not something that you can see right away. It's definitely something that you see kind of over time. Like if you're standing beside someone, like your twin, and you got laser and they didn't, like you would be able to tell, but it definitely takes time to kind of see the difference. Something that I was really eager about was knowing my new bra size. Like who wouldn't be? But the part that sucks is you kind of have to wait until the majority of the swelling goes down. So I had to wait until I was about 8 weeks post-op to kind of measure myself. So I did do a measurement, and I think it came out to like a C cup, I want to say, if I did the measurement right. And before I was like a triple D/E. Definitely significantly smaller, so love that for me. But like I said, I haven't actually been able to go into the store physically and get like measured and fitted and everything like that, so I will keep you guys posted. And lastly, just in case I didn't mention this in my first video, so I got my surgery covered under OHIP because I live in Canada. Thank you, OHIP. But I did have to pay for a portion of the surgery, which was the actual augmentation. So the reduction cost was covered under OHIP, but the augmentation costs, I had to pay that. It definitely depends on your surgeon. I know some people that don't have to pay for it. I know some people that do. Personally, I had to for the specific surgeon that I went to. The cost does include the 2 laser sessions, but in total with tax, I believe I ended up paying $2,800. So yeah, that was the price of the surgery. I don't know if I mentioned that in the first video, so yeah, I figured I would just throw that in here. I think that's pretty much it, guys. I think I basically covered everything. I know this was probably a long video of just me like sitting on my bedroom floor talking to you guys, but if you're anything like me and you're thinking about getting the surgery done, you want to do your research. I watched tons and tons and tons of these videos, so hopefully if you stumble across this and you're thinking about getting a breast reduction, I hope it helped you and gave you some insight. I'll leave anything that I forgot to mention down below, but I'm pretty sure we covered it all. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys have a good night or a good day whenever you're watching this. Have a great week ahead. If you guys have any suggestions or any videos that you want to see, just leave them down below. I always read you guys' comments. I love reading them and replying to you guys. So yeah, just leave anything down below. But until next time, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.